Good afternoon. My name is Jere Gonzalez, and I'm gonna be talking about Charles Dickens' novel A Tale of Two Cities. Charles Dickens was born in 1812 in Portsmouth, England. His childhood had a strong influence on his writing. When Dickens was young, his father was sent to Deptford prison, and Dickens has to work in a factory. This experience exposed him to poverty, child labor, and social injustice, themes that later became central in his novel. Dickens became a journalist before turning to fiction, which helped him to understand society and human behavior. He published many of his novels in serialized form, meaning they were released in parts. Some of his most famous works include Oliver Twist, Great Expectations, David Copperfield, and A Tale of Two Cities. Through his writing, Dickens criticized social inequality, injustice, and cruelty, especially towards the poor. A Tale of Two Cities is unique among his works because it is a historical novel set during the French Revolution and focused on themes of sacrifice, resurrection, and redemption. The French Revolution. The French Revolution began in 1789 as a response to inequality, poverty, and abuse of the power by the monarchy and the upper classes. French society was divided in three states. The first state, the clergy; the second state, the nobility; the third state, common people, peasants, workers, and middle class. The third state paid most of the taxes but had very little political power. This unfair system created anger and resentment. One of the most important events of the revolution was the storming of the Bastille, a prison that symbolized oppression. Its falls represent the people's fight for freedom. The revolution caused the fall of the monarchy and led to radical change in society. However, it also resulted in extreme violence during the Reign of Terror, when thousands were executed by the guillotine. Dickens showed both the reasons for the revolution and the danger of revenge and uncontrolled violence. Setting: the novel is set mainly in London, England, and Paris, France, during the late 1700s. These two cities represent two very different worlds. London is portrayed as more stable and orderly, while Paris is shown as chaotic and violent, especially during the Revolution. Dickens constantly contrasts the two cities to highlight the idea of duality which is central of the novel. Maps of England and France help readers visually visualize the distance between the two cities and empathize how characters move between them. The setting is essential because the historical context directly affects the characters' life and decisions. Characters Charles Dagny. Charles Dagny is a French aristocrat who rejects his family cruel behavior towards the poor. He moves to England to live an honest life. Despite his good intentions, he is repeatedly punished for his family name. During the French Revolution, he is imprisoned and sentenced to death. Sidney Carton. Sidney Carton is a lawyer who appears lazy and characterless, but he is very intelligent. He loves Lucy Manette deeply, but believes he doesn't notice. He does not deserve her. In the end, Carton sacrifices his life, to save Darnay, proving that he is capable of great love and courage. His character represents redemption. Lucy Manette. Lucy Manette symbolizes love, compassion, and hope. She helps restore her father's sanity after his imprisonment and brings emotional stability to others. She represents the moral heart of the novel. Dr. Alexandre Manette. Dr. Manette was imprisoned in the Bastille for 18 years without trial. This experience traumatized him, but he eventually recovered with Lucy's help. His past plays a key role in the plot, especially during Darnay's trial. The novel begins with Dr. Manette released from prison and his reunion with Lucy. Charles Dagny is later tried for treason in England, but is acquitted. As the French Revolution intensifies, Dagny returns to France to help a former servant and is arrested. Despite attempts to save him, he is sentenced to death. In the climax, Sidney Carton switches places with Dagny in prison and is executed instead. The novel ends with Carton's famous final thoughts expressing peace and fulfillment. Foreshadowing in the novel. Dickens used foreshadowing to hint at future events. Early scenes of spilled wine in the streets of Paris foreshadow the bloodshed of the revolution. Sidney Carton's statement about sacrifice suggests his eventual death. These clues build tension and prepare the reader to the tragic ending. Symbolism in the novel. Wine symbolizes blood and violence. Madame Defarge's sniffing represents faith and death. The guillotine symbolizes both justice and terror. Light and darkness represents hope and despair. These symbols help deepen the meaning of the story, and reinforce its themes. Theme. One of the most important themes in the novel is sacrifice. Sidney Carton's death shows that true heroism comes from selflessness. Other major themes include resurrection, justice versus revenge, and the power of love. They can suggest that love and compassion can help even the deepest wounds. Irony. There is strong irony in the novel. The revolution begins as a fight for justice, but turns into a system of cruelty similar to the ones it replaced. Sidney Carton, who believes his life has no value, becomes the most heroic character. The oppressors became victims, showing her how power can corrupt anyone. Conclusion. A Tale of Two Cities blends historical events with powerful fictional characters to explore human nature. Dickens showed that while injustice can lead to revolution, revenge only creates more suffering through sacrifice and love. Individuals can bring hope and redemption, even in the darkest times. Thank you for your attention.